So good evening, everybody. Good evening, Gillian. Good evening, Bonfils. How are you both? Bonfils, how are you tonight?
Good evening, Daryl. Good evening, Gillian. I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Maybe turn the video off. We might be able to be better if we turn video off as well. So I'm going to turn my video off for now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that might work better.
Yeah.
Bonfils, hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Kigali is a bit warm.
It is today, isn't it? Yeah.
Often rain.
Yeah.
And we enjoy the weather.
Yeah. We're joined tonight. I can see a few of our Kwamaganga participants, Bonfils, and we'll come back to your experience of Kwamaganga 1 from last year. But also, I'd like to introduce Professor Gillian Youngs. Gillian, hi. How are you this evening in England?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Very, very well. Good to be here with everyone. It's been raining again. Lots of rain in England at the moment, but the gardens need it. We don't, but the garden. Daryl?
I heard you say that I was back. So, yes,
good.
That's
good enough. I just wasn't sure of the protocol, if you wanted the participants to say hi before we start.
I think, yeah, if you want to say hello, everybody, then please unmute yourselves if you can and say hello. You're very welcome to unmute yourself and say hi. Beneath, are you there? JC, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello.
JC, good to hear you. How are you tonight?
Everyone.
Good evening.
Hello, JC.
How are you doing, JC?
We are doing fine.
Good.
I'm doing good. And we are just
one at a time, please. JC, how are you?
Doing very well. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I say I'm fine and everything is going on. I'm very excited to be here. And I'm looking forward to listening more about this conversation. Thank you.
Good. Now, JC, I saw that you were busy the weekend because you were signing an MOU, I think, with your organization. I saw you announce it on Twitter.
Yeah, I was making an official partnership with another young leader who is a PhD holder. So we were making an agreement on collaborating about a project to support young people in terms of environmental conservation.
Fantastic, fantastic. And you're ever present on Twitter. You're always, you know, I know you follow me and you follow others, and you're very much somebody who's seeking to change your country. How is that? Why is that so important for you? You know, the vision and mission that you've got.
Yeah, I think it's very important because young people have the power to make change. I mean, we live in a country that has, if I may say, a terrible background. You know, Rwanda is a country that has a special history. And what I'm currently doing is to try to support young people who are coming from distinguished backgrounds, including poverty, including the issue of conflicts in families. So I'm trying to raise my voice and work with other people so that we can have a generation of growing young people, children and youth who have access to all means, all possible means. I mean, affordable education, quality education, and also participation in civic education, and so that they may become productive member of the community or maybe this country in the next few years to come. I'm trying my best to contribute to the well-being of the people who will in the next time become the leaders of this country. That's what I believe in.
Fantastic. That's so inspiring. I mean, Gillian, how does that sound to you, you know, when you hear young people talking about what they're trying to achieve and the change they're trying to make, as somebody who is heavily involved in the innovation space?
Well, it's what we need to hear, really, and it's what we do hear from young people. I think that why I'm involved with Shibuka is because I think while young people have the energy and the determination to make these contributions that JC is talking about, I think that they need a lot of support from people who've gone before and made mistakes, and people who have a lot of experience and know how difficult it is sometimes to achieve things, and know how important it is to learn how to support oneself in the entrepreneurial journey.
Mm. Mm. Absolutely. And so tonight, everybody, we're joined by Professor Gillian Youngs, Shibuka's innovation ecosystem expert from the UK, and also from Kigali, Bonfils, from Africa Educational Toys. Good evening to you, Bonfils. How are you today? How are you, Bonfils? Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about your
Thank you.
day.
I'm doing well.
Yeah,
I'm doing well. I'm
Sorry.
doing well. I'm doing well. I keep doing my business and fighting with the consequences of the outbreak of COVID-19, of course. As you know, schools faced tangible difficulties with their closures, ups and downs, COVID-19 cases. It was really a big interest to the way forward of our business, but we try to figure out how to do business, how to make changes, how to do it well in this way.
And you were, of course, with us right at the very beginning when last year the lockdown hit in March 2020. And just taking you back, and we worked together on Kwamaganga 20. Just taking you back to that point as a young entrepreneur, what can you remember where you were when you heard that Rwanda was going into a lockdown and how that felt?
It is really a very bad experience, shocking experience, but we managed to come out. I remember day one of the lockdown, the day one, we were in the village with my co-work in Bugesera district. It's a village a bit far from Kigali. We went to supply educational toys in partnership with an NGO called Shelter Them Rwanda. So I remember it was on Saturday night, exactly once we reached at the place, we heard on the radio that no one is allowed to cross from home even to the market, to the supermarket. It was really a shocking information to hear about that. So it was a frustrating situation because no one was really prepared for that. No one was ready for that decision. So we spent a lot of money. We didn't have enough money to spend there. it took us like 1 month stacking somewhere far from home without enough money. But working closely with the local authorities, so we managed to move from Bugesera to our homes, but with very, very, very difficulties.
Sure, sure. And so what saw you through those months that followed, and what did you how did you find, you know, a way forwards for yourself as an entrepreneur with a business that was steadily going? How did you what did you do? What did you and your business partner do in order to move forwards?
I can say Shibuka came in as a solution to this. Why? Because it seems like coronavirus era is a main interest both of companies, including us, of course. So, however, we've been chosen among thousands of local companies by the workforce development authorities to provide training to youth for 6 months.
Very good.
That time, we had a chance, if I can say that, to know about Shibuka and to join that their program. As a success story, I can say that through Shibuka, I learned a lot. And the moment that I was managing that project, at the same time, I was a participant in Shibuka program. So we have been granted more than $20,000, and we managed to end up the 6-month training successfully in the midst of COVID-19 because of the Shibuka training that we had that moment. So I can imagine how worse it could be without those skills.
Yeah.
So as an innovative company, we achieved to tackle on the issue of lack of educational toys in nursery schools in Rwanda and outdoor playgrounds as our main production, so particularly in rural areas. I can say before the outbreak of COVID-19, we were hoping to supply our clients and we were potential bidders to many institutions. But nowadays, I can say the decline or the poor performance due to the outbreak of COVID-19. So the company's trading performance has been exposed to significant disruption caused by the decline in local trade, and particularly house services like schools ground to a dramatic halt. But with the Shibuka program, really, we learned a lot of new skills, and I'm confident as well as, yeah, sure, I'm optimistic about the future.
And I believe that you've got some very good news that's come through today, also building upon the confidence that you've gained over the program and how you've then developed your business since. So you shared with me some great news, yeah?
Yeah, sure. Not even today, but even I can say last year, the end of last year, through these skills, you know, everything has changed, if I can say. The way we do businesses, the way we do marketing, the way we approach our clients. You can't face someone just in the office today. So you need to use those social media tools, we learned a lot from Shibuka. That's why the end of last year, we've been approached by the presidential village and we got a contract from them.
Yes.
They saw our products on social media and they couldn't believe that we are able to make them, because normally there's educational toys imported from abroad, especially they were given by the UNICEF NGO. So they couldn't believe that in Rwanda, there are people that are able to make them. So they approached us and we made a very good contract with them, but it was just like a trial. So recently we supplied them those toys and they were really surprised by the quality and how good they are. So I can say that's a very good thing to see here in Rwanda. And it's something that I can say I'm pleased with and glad because of working hand in hand with Shibuka, if I can say that. So, and yesterday, I got also a good news that because of our performance, we've been also granted an additional grant to give or to provide training to young practices on how to make these toys, how to do carpentry in our style. So I think though the outbreak of COVID-19, we learned a lot how to come out and to do things, how to keep going forward towards success.
Fantastic. Gillian, you work with a lot of young founders, entrepreneurs, innovators across the world. And how have you found that young entrepreneurs have had to adapt given the pandemic? And what's really important now in terms of the skill set or the mindset that's required from young entrepreneurs, would you say?
I think really I'd like to, if Bonfils doesn't mind, really feed off the contribution that he's made and the themes that have come through what he said. And I do think all the colleagues on this call should really listen closely to stories like Bonfils, because they give you a lot of hope, I think, as innovators when you're trying to do something. First of all, knowing there's a lot of help out there. He's really stressed how the skills that he learned through the Shibuka program made a big difference. And a lot of those are about social media. I'm a LinkedIn person. I'm a big LinkedIn person. But Twitter, as we know, is such a fabulous medium for being discovered. I think his story he's sharing with us is about how we need to be discovered. People don't know what we do. We need to be discovered. But then the other message he's giving is that we need to follow through once we're discovered. So we need to deliver the quality in what we're doing. And I think his story is a very important one for us. And it does reflect some of the entrepreneurs that I've been working with who've had to what we call pivot. We used to use pivot before COVID to talk about how one developed one's proposition, one's plan as an entrepreneur. But since COVID, pivot has come to mean, it's when you turn, suddenly, has come to mean a very big thing for entrepreneurs. I've worked with a couple of entrepreneurs whose business has gone down because it was a very face-to-face. One of them was a very face-to-face model. As Bonfils has said, that's not possible. But they've been able to pivot to taking those skill sets into an online delivery. And one success in that with one client led to them being discovered by someone else, and they're on another track now. But I think his story tells us that being out there in the right way so what you're doing can be discovered is paramount.
Yeah. And you talk about story, and we're going to talk about the importance of storytelling in week 2 of the program. But can you just articulate what we mean by founders telling their stories and why that's so powerful, even in social media?
It's so hard being an entrepreneur, especially if you're on your own, because you know what your idea is. But the hardest thing is that you have to communicate that to others, and you have to do it in a way that is convincing. And it takes a long time as an entrepreneur to learn to do that for yourself. And it helps to talk to your friends and your family at the idea first instance. But you can't underestimate how long it takes. I slightly recently, because of my new entrepreneurial path, adjusted my focus, but I had to sit with the idea for a while and test it on myself. I can mainly do this on myself now and look out to other things. You've always got to look out to other examples, people who are doing similar things to get a sense of your own story. But the way that I think about it primarily is honoring your own idea. You have to, we talk about this a lot in education, you have to honor, you have to take seriously your own idea and yourself. And it's a new way of being, really, because you have to think about your own idea and work with it so that you can find words that really express what it is. And that doesn't come simply. It in my experience, it takes a lot of work.
And so Bonfils was discovered on Twitter, but Bonfils, going back to what Gillian's talking about in terms of storytelling, telling your story, what changed, do you think, in the way in which you were suddenly using social media to articulate your message, perhaps to what you were doing before? Bonfils. Are you there?
Bonfils still on mute.
Okay, I'm asking Bonfils, I'm asking you to unmute. Can you? I'm just wondering, Bonfils, are you still there? Are you able to? Great.
Yeah, I'm here, but
Yeah,
I was muted.
Yeah, I just wonder what, listening to the point about storytelling and telling your story, what changed for you in the way in which you started to communicate what you and Africa Educational Toys meant?
Are you there, Daryl?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Telling a story, it's for me and for the entire staff in my company, it was something very new and really new, if I can say that. We didn't use to tell our stories and to think about the impact that can make business. So I can say that, but by telling our stories, we found out that people really have been interested in what we do, and they have been attracted by curiosity to know who really we are and what we are doing. So through that, I like the thing that the fact that doing things in the right way, as Dr. Gillian said, brings in as a benefit in a company. So today, by telling stories, things have been changed, if I can say that. We met a lot of people on Twitter, Instagram, but before the use of those tools, we didn't have as many people as we have today. So we noticed that on social media, they are everyone that we want and everything we need as a business industries, if I can say that. So today, we shifted from supplying international NGOs and schools, so we supplied just people at the today. So, and through that new model of doing business, we learned a lot new skills. How? Can you imagine a client come to you and pull something different from what we used to do? And you can't say that I can't do that. For instance, someone came in and proposed us to make a basketball panel that is movable, that you can adjust according to the ages of the children, the tall, the smallest. You see, it was our first time to make something good like that, and it was a very good challenge, and we made it. You can imagine how we gain a lot from doing things that way, through social media, through telling stories. Today, we are doing, we are making outdoor playgrounds in a very, very new style from the proposal of the clients we made on social media. So it's a good thing to tell our stories, and it's a wonderful thing to use those tools, as Dr. Gillian said.
And I saw your basketball.
If I can just add to that,
Gillian,
I think
please
what's
do.
wonderful about what Bonfils is saying is, and this is so true about social media, when we use it for our family Daryl's very familiar with this, and I had my own consultancy for a long time, and it's all about relationship building. But I like what Bonfils said about the fact that on social media, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you're talking about, everyone's there. Everyone's there, and you build networks that enable you. And I think if one isn't, I mean, I'm a specialist on digital economy, so I should understand these things. But I think I understand that a lot of people who aren't familiar in a way with business on social media, that they might not realize how much you actually generate a community, and then that community helps you in different ways to build your business and to innovate further, which is so incredible. That was just not possible before the internet at all. Have we lost Daryl, or have we got Daryl?
I'm back in the room. I was listening to.
Great.
Yeah. I heard the end of that conversation. I'm just wondering, for people that are maybe here or watch this recording later, for those that are not used to using Twitter but are used to using Instagram perhaps for personal reasons, what is the difference that's required in using it for a business or as a founder compared to with family and friends? What must they think about?
Well, I think it's the professionalism, isn't it? And the focus and the just being sure that the message you're putting out there is authentic and is true. And you're putting yourself out there exactly as you want to be viewed by your customers, potential customers. So it is extremely, I think, different to family and friends in that there is a formal dimension to it. It's not all formal, and it can have elements of play in it, but it needs to be clear that you're communicating as someone who's doing a particular thing. I mean, the way Bonfils talks about it sounds absolutely accurate. It's really just about talking about what you are doing and why, often why you are doing it, and just sharing. You don't want to hit people with lots and lots of information, but just gradually sharing, as Daryl says, your story. And people's attention span is quite short, so you want to do that in a really focused way, with an image and some words, or just an explanation of something, and maybe a link to another source that is maybe your customers you're working with now or something. It's always good to think in a network way, to think about yourself as part of a network, and to use things like hashtags on Twitter to actually make sure that the people you want to see your message and are working in a similar area will find you. It's all about being found. It's all about being discovered, and it's all about connecting. And as Bonfils says, it's about listening. So if you do get contact from people who might be interested in you, be curious about them and what they're looking for, as much as telling them who you are and what you're delivering. So it's quite complicated in a way, but if you think it through and you try to be authentic and clear and true, that's the best approach, and to be professional as much as you can be.
So present the authentic you, the authentic product, the proposition. Be absolutely clear and transparent in what it is you're seeking to do. Being truthful and honest and ethical with your consumers and with the community is vitally important.
And I think, just to remind us all again about what Bonfils said, everything that he says reflects the experience I've had with so many different kinds of entrepreneurs. He mentioned that people were curious about what his venture was doing. And that's the thing, you can draw people in to your story by being engaged with them. Yeah, think of it as sharing the story. Think of it as sharing what you're doing, and in that way people will come towards you and will be interested in what you're doing. I think I couldn't really be clearer in explaining what it's all about than the way that Bonfils is explaining it.
The importance of storytelling is so powerful and so important as a founder, that when you open your notes and resources out on week 2, which will be opened on Friday, you will see that there is a good deal of attention given to the importance of storytelling. And indeed, next week's Zoom session, next Thursday evening at 8 p.m. will be with Deborah. and Daniel Johnson of Daniel Johnson Films, talking about, again, storytelling and giving you an activity that we are going to ask you all to be doing in the third week. So that's coming next week. That's why we're now trailing the importance of that issue. I just wonder, we've got 15 minutes left, whether anybody had any questions that they wanted to ask Bonfils or Gillian at this point in time. Anybody got a question, raise your hand and be happy to hear, or happy to hear your thoughts on what you've heard. Beneath, Jean-Claude, Annette, Bonfils, Enoch, Eric, if you have any questions, then please open your mic and ask Professor Gillian or Bonfils some questions. Or put them in the chat. No problem so far. I'm glad to hear that, Eric. Is there that's good. Bonfils, one of the things that I remember when we were on TV a few weeks ago, you talked about was the importance that we've also stressed this week in terms of the importance of focusing on sustainable development goals as part of your storytelling. So can you just briefly again talk about what sustainable development goals mean to you, your business, and what benefits they bring by focusing in on those as part of the proposition?
Yeah, the benefit is massive, if I can say that. It's very massive. And the problem is that most of young entrepreneurs here in Rwanda, they're not aware of sustainable development goals. Mm. And they're really not interested in, maybe because they are not aware. They don't have information about that. Mm. But it's very something good to know and to think about when we are doing business. Let me just take 2 points that Dr. Gillian raised. The authentic products, really, you are a good candidate to the SDGs benefits, if I can say that. Because we have a very big problem, or we are lazy in thinking, if I can say that, because the way we do business, most of people, they just see what Darrow is doing. If you have a hardware somewhere and you are successful in what you do, I just come and copy what you do, regardless the journey that took you to that success, without knowing how much you struggled to reach on that level. I just want to copy what you are doing. You don't know why you are doing that, and you don't know how you can do that. You don't even think about the authenticity of your product. What are you bringing in? How innovative your products are? The benefit of connecting your business to SDGs gives access to the grant. And most of businessmen don't think about that, because we think business in a way, you come, it is possible to get grant. Sounds strange, but it is possible, because we are the example of that. We are a business company limited by shares, but we got grants from the Workforce Development Authority. Why? Because we are linked to the SDGs goals. So linking your business to SDGs goals, I can say it gives you that access to grant.
Mm.
Was gone.
He might not be with us.
I'm back in the room.
Oh, great.
Gillian, you were
He's experiencing a bad network.
in Kagarama Canal Box territory. Sorry, Gillian, please.
That's all right. I was just going to add to Bonfils' point about the sustainable development goals and grants, etc.
Yeah.
I mean, part of what he's saying, it's very common now in the UK economy for organizations. I just discovered a wonderful one the other day to do with electricity, which I won't bore you about at the moment, but a fantastic startup called, well, they're established now, but they still have startup mentality. Great story, fantastic story, and totally connected to the Sustainable Development Goals. And what you're talking about with the SDGs, and they are quite straightforward, I'm not an expert on them, but they're quite straightforward to understand, is connected to the story too. Because what you're doing is connecting your business to the social and the global story of sustainability. And this is another added value with, Bonfils has pointed out that there are grants available for people who are focused on sustainability. But I would also add to that there are lots of people and customers who really are interested in sustainability now. So it is really an added value for your business in a very comprehensive way to say how you link to those goals.
Absolutely, and this is what we also shared with you in this week one, in the resources and in the handouts. So do go back to those resources on the virtual learning environment. We stressed to you the issue of becoming a social entrepreneur in Rwanda, and the fact that, you know, in terms of the government strategy coming out of, in terms of the national strategy for transformation and the economic recovery plan, it is about meeting, not just delivering a business and a value proposition to your consumers, but as Gillian has just rightly said, people are more interested now in the difference that you're also making to their lives, and understanding the pain and the struggle that they're facing, and how business can solve social problems as we come out of pandemic. That will be, as Gillian said, a differentiator for you, as well as a business benefit, as Bonfils has explained, in terms of accessing you to grants. So do go back over those notes that we have proposed to you, and the resources that we have given to you. Has anybody got any questions? I notice in the chat that Jean-Claude was saying, you know, great testimony by you, Bonfils. Great example of resilience amongst COVID-19, and you know, the way in which you have come through is really a testament to what is achievable. And talking about social entrepreneurs, I'm just wondering, Gillian, in now, you know, the work you're doing with young people, whether there's more of an interest in or an understanding of social entrepreneurship than there has been in the past because of the times we're living in.
Well, while I'm very young at heart, as Daryl knows and Bonfils knows, I'm actually a bit of an old dog. So when I started out a long time ago, there was very little social dimension to business. Often businesses did charitable work and everything, but social wasn't part of their proposition. And in this economy, in the UK economy, it is startups and particularly young people who have driven the social commitment. And I think that's really, they create what I would call hybrid businesses. And I'm thinking of one startup that came out of Westminster a few years ago, Westminster University, of a young person who translated her university experience into a business. And then by the third year, she was actually running training courses for, particularly for young women, to become entrepreneurs. So she had a social component built into her business from the beginning, and she was enacting that by year 3, which
Wow.
is amazing. And a lot of old timers from business don't understand how often the social aspect can be integrated from the outset. But I find for young entrepreneurs, that's the way they think. And the thing that they maybe don't think about is what Daryl and Bonfils were talking about, is making that clear as part of their value proposition. So making that part of their story and an integrated aspect of how they communicate the value of what they're doing.
Absolutely. And you know, there's 17 sustainable development goals, and we've put them out to you there in week 1. Week 2, when you see your notes on Friday, you see that we start to encourage you to think about social enterprise more deeply, and the issues that you might want to consider. It's true that in Rwanda, you register through Rwanda Development Board as a limited company, and that is the only current option. But of course, it doesn't stop you from being a socially responsible organization that is using the Sustainable Development Goals, 1 or 2. You know, don't try and focus on too many perhaps at once, but think about those that are important for your business and those which you can contribute to, as Gillian and Bonfils have expressed, authentically. So you're not cutting and pasting from others, but you're looking deep into your proposition and understanding the difference that you're making, whether you are, you know, providing educational toys, whether you are providing water to consumers, whatever it is that whether you're being an event planner as well. I think someone here is an event planner. So think about the way in which you can, okay, this is what we do, and look at those 17 sustainable development goals and look deeply into them. And we've given you the links and the resources to do that. And that's something that we're going to be encouraging you to do as part of your development over the coming weeks. Any questions from anybody? I've picked up on what's been said in the chat. If anybody's got any questions before we conclude, please raise your hand. Okay, well, we're going to be recording this, as we said, and we'll be uploading this onto the YouTube channel, and we'll be pushing it out through the virtual learning environment and through the WhatsApp group shortly. Final words from you, Bonfils. Any advice that you would want to give to people currently with us here tonight, tuning in afterwards on the Kwamaganga 21? What advice would you give to your peers?
Thank you, Dalo. As a young entrepreneur, I can't say that I have reached where I want to be, but this way forward towards success needs to learn a lot. They need to learn if they want really to be successful, not to copy. They need to learn. They don't need to copy. I need to come back to the point that Dr. Gillian raised. They need to think on why and how they do what they do. Secondly, the authenticity of their products. If, as you say, you have a water company, I don't know what you do with that. You are an engineer. You do whatever you do. You have to think about the authenticity of what you do. Why should I buy things or product from your boutique, your shop, not to someone else. How innovative your products are.
Can I ask you a question?
Beneath, please. Hi.
Yes,
please ask Bonfils a question.
Sure.
I'd like to know why do people buy from Bonfils?
Can you please repeat the question?
Why do people buy from you?
Why do people buy from
Okay.
African Educational Toys?
I didn't do the official research, but what we do from now, they're unique. We are Africa Educational Toys. We do, or we produce toys from wooden and non-wooden materials. And just summarize, I can do just a quick summary of who we are. Maybe everyone will understand what we do. And if we say you need to bring innovation in what you do, people understand this. Africa Toys is a company registered under the law of the government of Rwanda. Consists of different materials used at all levels from nursery to primary schools. So beside production and supply of scholarly materials, Africa Educational Toys provides technical assistance in installation and training to teachers and parents on how to use educational toys. So we supply early childhood equipment as well as outdoor playgrounds in different institutions in Rwanda. So we are committed to the development of children and their quality education. So if I can say this, our goal is to inspire and develop the builders of tomorrow through creative play and learning. Because we believe that play comes naturally to children and children learn through play. That's our business, that's what we sell. But it was really very difficult to understand that I have to come to this field of business operators with this idea of selling the future of the builders of tomorrow. You see, things like that. It was very difficult to come to the market with this idea of not selling fuel, rice, sugar, meat. As everyone knows, it's a business. So we came in as innovators with creativity, innovations. It took a bit long to be successful, but it was a sure deal. And today, I can really testify we go towards success.
Yeah, thank you, Bonfils. That means that you don't have competitors.
I don't get you well. If you can repeat the question and raise your voice a bit.
Beneath has said that you don't have
You have
competition,
competitors.
but you do. But you've managed to create a distinct position.
Yeah, sure. I have competitors. I'm not alone in the. I'm not alone on a pitch. I'm not playing alone. I have competitors, but the difference is what I give them, how I satisfy their needs, and the way I do that bring difference. That's why some just choose to come to me and not to someone else. The trick thing is this: Many people sell toys, just toys. But the idea or the new idea was to sell educational toys. That makes a difference. We came in with educational toys. You have to know this, educational toys, not just toys. Why? Toys just are there to make children have fun. But educational toys brings 3 in 1. What? Having fun, first of all, and educate those children. Thirdly, leave a room of creativity. For instance, we have some items they entertain children, they educate them, but also they give them the room of creativity. They create things that we've never thought it could be possible through those tools. But the way they are made, the way we shape them, give that opportunity to children. So we have competitors. We are not alone on the pitch, but how we do what we do, and why we do what we do, and the way we do those things bring the difference.
Thank you, Bonfils. Beneath, I hope that answers your question. And again, Bonfils, your authenticity comes through. Thank you for a great question, Beneath. Final word to you, Gillian, really, probably wanting to pick up on what Bonfils has said. Final conclusions for you, Gillian?
Well, I would just support what Bonfils has said. I mean, just the way that he has talked about his proposition and his business and the passion behind what he's saying is an example to all of you about the approach that you need. Listening to him makes me want to buy things from him. Listening to him would make me want to invest in his company.
Please.
Listening to him would make me want to recommend him to other people.
Yes.
So he's a fantastic example to you all about just how seriously you need to take your proposition and how hard you have to work to articulate it in the way that he does. When you ask him what his business does, he will say things to you that are precise, they are backed by passion, they refer to a lot of detail and the different facets of his proposition. And he's worked hard to be someone who can communicate his business that way. And what I hear also in that is I have confidence that he will go on innovating, because the sustainability that I work with a lot is the sustainability of innovators themselves, the capacity of innovators to carry on innovating, because you can't stand still. Even when you're a success, you must continue to innovate. So for me, it's just, I want to applaud. We might lose him. Oh, he's there.
I am back in the room. I'm back in the room just at the end.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Thank you for such great first Kwamaganga Live this week. Such a great discussion. Thanks so much, Gillian. As always, Bonfils, amazing, inspiring stories that we can all learn from. Your authenticity shines through. I'm sure that people will wish to thank both of you in their own way. We are going to be here every week, introducing you to different experts from Shibuka, both locally and internationally. Keep doing the reading. Watch out for this recording, which will come later. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. Spread the word. Tell people what they missed. I know connections are not always easy. Indeed, as you can tell from mine as well, I understand the difficulty. So everybody have a great evening. Thanks, Gillian. Thanks, Bonfils. Thanks, everyone, for being here tonight. Take care and see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.